Guys, welcome to the channel. Stay for this video. It is very interesting and there's a lot to be learned here. As always, if you haven't subscribed already to the channel, consider doing so. That is always very much appreciated. Super helpful, especially with YouTube. That is, shadow banning channels that are a bit more conservative or on topics that they don't agree with that much. So yeah, subscribing very much. This is a textbook case of survival and preparedness, getting lost in the wild outdoors. Talking about textbooks, I recommend mine, Surviving the Economic Collapse and Street Survival Skills. These two will be super helpful for this and a bunch of other serious survival and emergency needs that you may have one day. Now, in this case, what happened to this man? Why is it that this is an interesting case? Well, it goes through different things. I think that there's some mistakes made, and as always, it's always easy to judge others from the comfort of your home and not being there. So seriously, let's keep that in mind. Having said that, there's things here that are a little bit of a question mark, at least the way I see it. And then there are some valuable lessons that you can definitely learn from. Maybe even some things that you haven't even considered before. So stick around for this. What is it that happened? Well, this man, Lucas McLeish, 34-year-old, he got lost for 9 nights and 10 days in the mountains, in the wild outdoors of Big Basin Redwood State Park. Yeah, it happens. I mean, guys, I've been doing this for a long time already. You wouldn't believe people that have died in places that are less than a tenth of the size of this park. People get lost even in very small outdoor patches of land or mountains, and they just lose their bearings. And this is a lot more forgiving than other parts of the world. The climate here is very benevolent, so you're not likely to freeze to death here, especially not in the summer time of the year. But I mean, yeah, this can happen. There's a little part in Northern Ireland which I hiked all over. I was specifically looking for some of the more outdoorsy areas. There's really not a whole lot, right? There's maybe a couple mountains, and there's like bogs where you can get stuck in the mud, and I got stuck in there. But man, you would say you're always like within the line of sight of some road almost. It's very little wild outdoors that you have. And yet, believe it or not, almost every year people that get lost die. Why? Well, people get lost in even in small areas, but also because of the weather. It gets very cold at night, and people die of hypothermia. In this case, the man can easily survive 10 days being lost here in Big Basin Redwood State Park because it is not really that cold. Hypothermia is a thing that it kills people the most. Something else that kills people is something that almost killed our good friend here: falling from cliffs. Thinking of, oh, yeah, I'll just cut my path through here. I'll just climb over there. I'll just skip this side of the mountain. You fall, you break your head, you break your leg, you break your neck, and you die. Falling, hypothermia, these are the things that usually end up getting you. But going specifically to this case, right? Lucas McLeish, 34-year-old, experienced hiker. Based on what the article says, the family would go hiking fairly often. He was not a stranger to backpacking for a day or two, so the man had some outdoor skills. Now, I have some questions as of how wise some of the decisions he made. For example, going out without even wearing a shirt, let alone a cell phone, that is usually not the smartest thing to do. Now, yes, as always, keep in mind that it's easy to judge things when you haven't gone through them yourself, but still, the thing is that he decided to go in and the man is from the area. He's local here from Boulder Creek, so he knew this part and was somewhat familiar with it. But it's also being said that he was disoriented by the fire that burned like 90% of this park here. And that's something that a lot of people, even with some hiking experience, don't understand, which is a fire will change the world that you once knew. If you haven't been to a place that was, a wooded area before and after a fire, it might as well be a completely different place. Here in the article, it says that the man describes it as a desert, and that is an actual pretty good description. You will not find your bearings in a place that was destroyed by fire. I mean, literally, the fire burns down the signs of go here, camp over there. It's just black ash. And as you see, our friend here has surprising amount of gray hair for a 34-year-old. I mean, I've seen worse. I knew a guy was in his very early 20s, like 21, all gray hair because of, something, stressful stuff that happened or something like, yeah, you can't go like all white in a very short period of time. It went under a lot of stress. I don't know if that's what happened to him, but he's also covered in ash, right? But at the same time, you see this and you say, hey, what the fuck? This is not all burned down. Not this part, but maybe the part in which he got lost was. Fire burned over 90%. I think like 97%. That is pretty extreme. But hey, not judging here. It burned over 90% of the park. But this part was green, and maybe this is where he was heading. He was probably going for where he found water, which he admits to drinking a lot of out of his boot because he didn't even take a bottle with him. So what is it that he had? This is literally what he said. I left with a pair of pants, my hiking boots, my hiking shoes, and a hat. I had a flashlight and a pair of folding scissors like a Leatherman tool, and that was about it. He didn't even have a shirt on. So that's why he was found without a shirt on, and he's covered in ash because he did not even have a shirt on. Guys, he did not have a cell phone on because, again, not judging, but dude, you got lost very close here. So you're from, I mean, this is a decent distance. It's surprisingly, but still, there is cell phone hit signal here. You just didn't bring a cell phone with you. If you had brought a cell phone, you would have found your way out of here in just an hour, right? You're very close from everything. So that's a little bit strange. So he had nothing. Even when you're going out on a day hike, who goes out these days without a cell phone? I don't know. Yes, we're depending on our gadgets and social, yes, all of that. But hell, a cell phone is kind of like a basic thing that most adults bring along. Not judging, I don't even know the guy, but I do know that there's people that have poor judgment, emotional things going on, maybe not in a good place in life right now. There's people that drink, there's people that do drugs, there's people that get high and do stupid things that get them hurt. So there's a lot of variations and possibilities here, right? So he got lost. And then there's this aspect of when he says that the first 5 days he was not worried and he was trying his survival skills. How much did he get lost? How much did he get lost on purpose? How little was he worried about finding help for the first couple of days? So he went on eating berries and drinking a lot of water because there is lots of water here. But he says that for the first 5 days, he was okay. Then he started getting really hungry. That is also something very real. If you haven't gone on an extended fasting for several days, you may not know this, but you're perfectly fine 5-10 days without food. You can keep on walking a lot 10 days without any food. He was eating berries. Berries will do nothing. Berries don't have the caloric, it's not going to be covering much. I mean, it's better than nothing at all. But you're basically going on your body fat. And most of us have plenty of it. We're fine. Every single somewhat fit adult that is not going through some medical problem or extremely thin, right? You're going to be very much okay. The first day, if you haven't done this, first day of not eating anything, you may drop a couple pounds. It's not going to be fat because there's enough sugar in your blood as it is for the first day or two you're going to be losing, you know what? The weight that you have in your stomach from constantly eating and also from the amount of water that gets retained in that food. That's what normal people do. Every single day, you have a couple of meals or more, and that food stays in your system. And for the first couple of days that you're actually fasting, you go like, hell, I lost a lot of weight. No, you did not lose a lot of weight. Your body is no longer keeping any food inside, and that's the weight that you see in the scale. After that, yes, you haven't eaten anything for a day or two. Now your body starts looking into, okay, there's no more sugar in blood. Let's start making some of that fat into energy for our body to keep on going. That's when you hit that keto phase that people think, oh yes, I'm only eating meat. you can get very much into full keto by not eating. Your body will start consuming your fat. It's not going to be a whole lot. It's not going to be a pound of fat. This guy lost 30 pounds in these 10 days. 30 pounds. That was not fat. That was a lot of water. Lots of pretty much dehydrated, I would say, even though he was drinking a lot of water. But you're not going to be losing a whole lot of weight in the first couple of days. Now, as time goes by, like 300, it's going to be less than half a kilo that you lose of fat each day, unless you start moving, right? When you start moving, that could hit that, like a kilo to pound, a pound, a couple pounds, can you lose? Yeah. Again, it's probably a lot of dehydration going on here, but you start losing a bit of fat each day because that's being converted. Now, that is going to be accelerated because you're moving. When you start moving, you start burning more. And this man, I can tell you that given the amount of weight that he lost, he kept on walking all day long, right? He was trying his survival skills for the first 5 days. Then he got scared. He got worried. I think he fell like the side of a mountain or a cliff at some point. But then he decided to find his way out of here, right? And that's when some questionable things were, right? So for the first 5 days, again, I have no idea what was going through his head, but based on what he said about trying his survival skills for the first 5 days and not being worried, he was obviously not all that concerned about getting out of there. His family didn't know where he told no one where he was going. It was only 5 days later when he didn't show up to Father's Day that the family got worried and started wondering, where the hell is this guy? And that's when authorities started looking for him. Pro tip, if you're going on a wild, crazy adventure, let people know where you're going. And this is essential. Whatever hiking, backpacking trip you have in mind, whatever amount of days, just a couple of days, 5 days, 10, doesn't matter. If you're going to be spending a week hiking across, let people know where you're going. Just simply a map with a red line. Hey, mom, dad, wife, neighbor, whoever is in your life, dude, I'm going, your boss, yeah, I'm going this way. You just send a photograph from your phone, right? Take a picture of a map with a line. Yeah, I'm going here. I'm going to have a lot of fun, right? Even if you're not telling them specifically, yeah, if I get lost, look for me here. But when people start asking about, hey, who's in the life of this guy? No, let's call his employer, right? His boss. Oh yeah, he told me that he went over there. Yeah, he sent me a picture of this. And when you show a picture to people that are trying to find you, and they see a fucking map with a red line of where you're going, you have no idea how much of a difference that makes from, yeah, he went to the woods. Where? I don't know. Somewhere. He went to Big Basin Redwood State Park. Okay, that's better than nothing, but we still have no idea where he was planning. A line is a lot better. It's day and night comparison to finding someone when you have an idea of what route he was taking from nothing at all. So, you get lost in the woods because these woods are no longer woods. It's a desert of ash that was just destroyed by fire. But then you find yourself in actual woods. One of the other things that happen is it's very difficult to find someone here because of the tall trees. Even when looking for him with a chopper, which they did. Even looking for him with a drone, which they did, or several, the trees cover everything and you have no idea what's underneath that canopy. It is all looking like this. You can be here, no one has an idea. Another thing that's very important, you may be like 30 feet away from someone and you don't even know it because it's covered by trees. So if you've ever gone hiking at all, you know that this is the case. And when you have like a zigzag, going down the side of a hill, it may be someone that's really 10 feet away, but covered by a bunch of trees. You don't even know he's here. And because most normal people don't go screaming around, hey, is there some dumbass lost here? That's not what people do. You don't even know unless you start doing that yourself, which is in the last 48 hours when he got really scared after that 5 days of not having any food. But hey, I'm feeling pretty good actually. I can keep on surviving here. Well, then he started getting a little bit worried. When he started getting scared and worried, he started shouting out, help, help, anyone. And within 48 hours, someone did hear him, and they contact the authorities. Even better, have a whistle. Even better, have your damn cell phone and not get lost in a state park, right? But anyway, someone may be very close, but unless you signal your position, they don't even know where you are. So yes, start shouting out, help. Even better, use some kind of whistle. People were looking for this man. They had no idea where he was. Another thing that I'm a little bit suspicious is this part here. And this is in quote, I knew if I kept following the sun, I'd get to the ocean eventually. But I didn't know how far from the ocean I was. So there's a lot of wrong with this line here. Everything here is terrible. I knew if I kept following the sun, I'd get to the ocean eventually. No, you will not. If you continuously follow the sun, you will walk in circles because the sun is not in a fixed position. Guys, do you think this is ridiculous? There's people that believe that the earth is still flat and they're functioning human beings. Some of them are actually quite famous even and successful, and they think the earth is fucking flat. So I'm not surprised by this guy thinking that just following the sun, even if he says he's somewhat of an experienced backpacker, by the way, no, guys, just following the sun will make you walk in circles because the sun comes from the east and goes to the west. You know, the famous sunsets of this part of the world where this man is from, he should have known that, yeah, the sun sets on the sea here, right? Ray rises from the east, goes from the east to the west. So in the morning, walking towards the sun, you will go to the east. In the afternoon, walking towards the sun will go to the west. So he was doing this. And also he goes, he's going to be following the sun, walking in circles. How long did he walk in circles? I have no clue. Is this just a he misspelled or explained what he was doing? Was he actually orienting himself with the sun and just following the sun at a certain time, knowing where the sun was? I don't know. It doesn't sound like that. It sounds as if he was actually following the sun all day long, which is walking in circles, basically. But he also says, I didn't know how far from the ocean I was. And that's also something that, dude, you were living here. This is where you live. And you don't know that's, 10 kilometers away? Like 7, 8 miles? I don't know how the conversion, but you have to know where that is. One more thing in case you get lost. This is very basic for getting lost anywhere. If you're lost, walk downhill until you reach a creek, some water, and follow the direction of the water. Follow that stream of water trickling down the side of the hill until it becomes something bigger, until you hit a river, and then follow the river until you find civilization. That actually works pretty much everywhere in the world. Is it always perfect? No. There's times in which it's difficult because it ends up like a stream of water disappears in the vegetation and it either goes underground, it becomes like a swampy area. It is impossible to follow because there's no trail on the side of this stream you're trying to follow. All of these things I've seen, and it happens. Still, there's ways around that. You kind of know where you're going and you find the trail again next to the stream. You sometimes just listen the water. And you just keep on walking. As long as you keep hearing the stream, you kind of know where that is. And every once in a while, you get a little bit of a, in that between the woods, you see a little bit of that. Oh, yeah, there it is. I continue following, and I keep on going down and down and walking towards civilization. And if you see this, that's exactly what would have happened. No matter where he got lost here. Right here, he follows the water. He follows the water. He gets lost here. He follows the water. It always ends up, right, goes towards the ocean, goes towards the lake, goes towards a larger river. Even if he got lost, like, for example, around here, right? Let's say he was lost very close to a golf country club. Doesn't matter. Still the same thing applies. You got lost here, you follow this one, you'll spend a lot more time, right? I mean, yeah, there's a road here, but still, the body of water towards there. But here, right, body of water goes here, and still brings you to roads, to cities, to Boulder Creek where he's from. He knows that there's a river here. So all of these things are basic, survival stuff of getting lost in places where you're not familiar with. So knowledge, how you get out of a place when you're lost. Fire does change the scenery, even if you're super familiar with it. it may be completely different, which is something that I think happened to this man, at least initially, when he got lost from this 3-day little walk into a multiple-day survival experience. Have stuff with you. It doesn't make you weak. You're not cooler. You're not more of a badass because you leave your phone behind and you don't even take a bottle of water when you go hiking. No, that's just stupid. And it's also important to have all the gear. Look at this guy. This guy is looking for him. He has a backpack. He has a bunch of survival stuff. He has a bunch of equipment. This is the kind of thing you want to get used to carrying with you. You want to get used to know how to use it, get familiar with, check if everything is fine. When you use it, you actually verify and check on all of these things. So that's what guys actually do that know their stuff. I mean, the famous guy that spent I don't know how many days, he fell from the side he fell into the side of a cannon and got his arm caught on a rock and cut his own arm off to survive. That dude also told no one where he was going. He had very little survival equipment. Have you told someone you wouldn't go through that? And sure, he became famous, and he's now a motivational speaker of some sort. Super famous guy. Did very well for himself because of that bad decision that he initially made. So yes, you get through stuff, but it's even better if you are not forced to do that. This man could have died. He could have fallen on the side. He was followed by a mountain lion at some point. Goes to prove that mountain lions don't. What is this dumbass doing here? But he didn't attack the guy. So we laugh at it because the man is fortunately fine now. He's, thank God he's okay. But still, a lot of things here to learn from. And if you can avoid making these mistakes, that's going to be even better. So again, guys, follow the channel. That's always much appreciated. And I have a bunch of content that's going to be helping you and be better prepared, even when you're going out for a couple-hour hike. Okay, folks? See you next time. Take care.